welcome to another episode of Lori's Learning Journey. Today we ask the question, why is it so hard to be a man these days? First of all, let's just accept it is hard to be a man these days. There was a study that was done on Harvard freshmen, young men, and the way they answered their questions, it became obvious that they have pressure on both sides. On one side, they have to be super masculine and tough and stoic, and on the other side, they're supposed to be feminine and talk about their feelings. These are mutually exclusive things. So to be a man today is to feel like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. More men commit suicide than women. More men are depressed. More men are living with their parents than women are. And part of this is because we don't really have great messages about what it's supposed to be a man. Imagine you're 14 or 15-year-old boy and everywhere you go you hear about toxic masculinity. Well, let's just pause for a moment and ask ourselves, how did this all start? Well, there's one book you might want to look at. It's called Real Boys. And it's about how, I don't know if you're familiar with this, girls, we go through this. We're like 12, 13, 14 years old, and all of a sudden you're not allowed to be any kind of girl. You have to be a certain kind of girl, and instead of being one of the guys, everyone's looking at you a certain kind of way, and you realize that now all of a sudden, no matter how smart you are, or how creative you are, all of a sudden society is judging you a lot of times based on your appearance. Now, young women, when that starts to happen, your brain has developed cognitively enough to go, this doesn't feel right. There's a wonderful book called Reviving Ophelia about what teenage girls tell their therapists that they don't tell their parents. And one girl said, I'm a perfectly good carrot and they want to turn me into a rose. So that pressure is something that women are aware of. Doesn't make it necessarily easy to deal with, but we're aware of it. Guess what age that happens to men? 5 years old. Because when they go to kindergarten or pre-kindergarten, a lot of times they're not allowed to cry. They're supposed to be tough. Little boys will cry until they get sick to their stomach because teachers are like, oh, it's a boy. So boys get that message at an age where they don't even have the cognitive skills to recognize this doesn't feel right. They're just told you have to be a certain kind of way. Secondly, like it or not, most men learn about what it's like to be a man, particularly with women, today from porn. Not a great source. Not a great source. Men back in the day, back in the 60s and 70s, it was whatever movie idol. It was Clark Gable or it was John Wayne. And John Wayne would come in and grab the woman by the hair and kiss her and she'd be like, oh, so sexual assault. Yay, totally fine. So men don't always have great role models and they're taught at such an early age that who you are isn't okay, that they don't even necessarily have the cognitive skills to know what to do. So if you have a man in your life, and I know that you do, it's great that we all think about what do women need? What do people of color need? What do people with disabilities need? What do people who are neurodivergent need? That's all great. But let's think about what men need as well. And sometimes what they need is a little love and a little acceptance from us. Maybe a little less judgment, awareness that sometimes, a lot of times, we give men mixed messages. And when men get mixed messages and they feel afraid and they feel left out, sometimes they turn to violence or they turn to extremism because they just want to belong somewhere where people aren't judging them. So how can you reach out to the men in your life today and give them a little bit more of what you and I have wanted for ourselves?